A very beautiful day, and I'm happy in it. I know you are happy in it. Yes, it's a new day, so we must always be grateful for the gift of life. It's a miracle, if you ask me, because a lot of people went to bed and did not wake up. Well, my weekends are becoming very, very eventful. Last weekend, I tagged along with a friend for a village meeting, and I went with my iPad because I was sure I would not understand what they were talking about. So I decided to go along and perhaps do one or two things while they were working. Unfortunately, I not only heard all they said, I understood. And I nearly had, wanted to contribute to it, but I had to hold myself back. Why that happened was because I thought, not being from that part of land, I don't ordinarily understand their language. If they spoke in their language, I would not be able to contribute, but they used English. When we're going, I asked my friend, why are you people doing village meeting in English? You guys don't have dialect. He said, you see, most of these people here have stayed in Abuja for so long, their children too, so they can't really speak their language, and I found that a bit not okay. I kept asking myself, why are we doing this to ourselves? I'm still asking that question, and even up till now, I don't have an answer. So I know that you're going to help us with the answers, and the people in the house here are readily waiting to prefer answers. But let's start by even getting to find out if they know their language. I'm going to be greeting Nigerians in my native language, and I hope you do the same. So, Unukanu, Unabiola, Abumoya Breba, Adena, Efamze Eliza, Wendukwelezu, Unumal, Ngwanakana. Go one.
Your own is so long. It's so long. Abo mi me olududu chaka. Good morning.
I also mentioned my name.
Okay, my name. Okay, Odumishi Ojoma Joy Okmanachi.
This is tricky for me, to be honest, because I'm Bari, I'm Hausa, and then I speak for full days. But let me go with Hausa. And now, Kwanong Kusuna Maimuna Omi Abdullahi, aka Coach Didi.
Fufu Denko.
Jam Banduna on Omi Jam, and they am Coach Didi, and they am Maimuna Omi Abdullahi.
There was another one you mentioned. Baggy, okay.
I cannot speak.
Well, Jam Tim Sunechi, Mombayilamo, Divan Hamation, Mom, Guanu Hamation, Kwasu, Mom, Barrister, Momuilame, Romy Mom.
Wow, better than
Rob.
Okay. So I heard when you say Kwasu Mom.
Yes.
Kwasu Mom means wife of mom.
Yes.
Right?
Daughter of Hamation, wife of mom.
Oh, okay. That's
and the
Hamation.
reason I chose to make that distinction is I have so many people calling me Mrs. Hamation.
Okay.
Because I am Devan Hamation on Facebook.
Okay.
So people who want to be formal start doing the Mrs. Hamation thing. That's my dad.
Okay.
I wasn't able to change my name on Facebook because I'd exceeded the limit of people you are here. So that's why I'm making the distinction. I am Romy Mom's wife, Tony Hamation's daughter.
That's a good one.
Wow, that's
all right. Clear decision. All right, we've actually made a touch base with our local languages here, and I'm happy that we're not disappointing you. We can speak our dialect very, very well, but I'm not too sure. Somebody cannot speak Gwari.
There's a reason for it. Baggy. No, Baggy is Abuja. Me, I'm Gwari.
Okay,
from Niger.
Gwari, okay.
Gwari is a different dialect.
Okay.
Yeah. There's actually Gwari and Baggy.
Yes.
Which one are you?
Niger, Gwari.
Those
from
really?
Niger State are called Gwari.
Okay.
Those in Abuja
are called Baggy.
Baggy.
Oh,
okay.
It's good to know.
We learn everything.
Yeah, we learn everything.
All right, let's further go and learn more. Ehi, are you on the street at the moment? I haven't seen you this morning. Can we get to you? And I know you're a proud Idoma girl, but let's see how it goes.
Ala new baje, ala nyakpen, iye mreku eshiowocho, one year agada loni mo, ano idoma, Benue State. Nigeria is my country, and God has blessed us with beautiful languages. Yes, I am Idoma, but I love to learn other languages. Variety, they say, is the spice of life. You can like rice and also like beans. So I want to learn other languages. Come with me today as we go and ask Nigerians if they truly know how to speak their dialects.
I'm from Akwa Ibom. We speak Ibibio dialect.
Can you introduce yourself in Ibibio?
I'm in Kedindian Abasini Ban, into Akwa Ibom, into local government, Kensington. Good morning, Samosire. Didiamko means come and eat. Cardio means bye-bye.
Ahanwo Eric Nanyorogo. Aumonyi Mo State, Owerri Zone. Imo Owerri Zone, onye Ngobala local government. Ime Ngobala, onye Umekune in Ngobala. One the number means there's a brother in another state, in another land.
Megba meola ikokidai. Meolo dudu ikokidai show dudu mado. Odumiko Elder Emmanuel Akubo. Ukolo government nachi. Ukolo NF nachi. Ita aligala makaku pai shikakini. Oro ma danuku. Ko ma jabi olan. Eten shikakini. Ugbodu kenede. Awe ko banema ugbewe ngodomogen. It means if you have somebody elsewhere, you might not be disappointed again. You don't have any need for disappointment. In fact, if it's a case, you will be defended by your person who is in the council of the decision-making body or the legislation. That is the meaning. Nago.
Ẹ káàárọ̀ ní Yorùbá ní àárọ̀. In the morning, ẹ káàárọ̀. Orúkọ mi ni Omidan Adéṣọlá Sanni Dauda. Ẹjọ́ là ń kọ́ ká tó kọjá. That means you have to learn how to speak first before you fight.
I'm from Adamawa State and my tribe is Koma. I don't know whether you've heard of it before. Nil mina Eli Bitrus mabakani mi mina fabo gam yari mini basel ka mabagano ar. That means living room is for big people. Zaka jamia, it means good morning. Ida jamia, it means how are you?
I'm Tera by tribe, found in Gombe State, and in Akko local government, Yamaltu, mostly in Yamaltu local government area. Actually, being born and raised within Fulanis, I can't talk very well in Tera, but I know some words. I know some literal meanings of some words, like where are you going? That ifuna or some words, they in fact small little words.
Any nurse Patience Johnson. Any nurse and Uromina vai. Where J? That is greeting. Good morning.
See, I have learned some Nigerian languages. I told you the variety is the spice of life. Mesere, Doeje, Aele, Ekaro, Ekabo. I also learned Ushoko, remember? Koma, from Adamawa State. And I am sure that Auntie Joy will be so excited because we met her brother here. Auntie Joy, Olodu. Now it is back to the studio for more discussions on how we can stop the endangerment of our languages.
Okay, I'm going to take it. Olodu.
Olodudu means good morning.
Oh, okay.
That's what it means.
That's a nice one.
Igala.
Okay, yeah, that's Igala.
Igala.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Now, it was nice to hear all of that being said. People were able to relate. We intentionally went to the adults because we know that they will try to do well.
Yeah.
But I know that when it comes to the younger generation, it's not even that's okay, But then there was a last man who didn't know a whole lot in his village, or his native language. But my question is, why do we find it difficult, really, to speak our dialects? I was accused by a friend, a sister, when I posted it on my status, she said, "Are you shaking your own table?" I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "Because you don't speak Abeba." But I intentionally decided to correct that, by starting to the program speaking my language. And Cynthia, Echem, I'm still telling you, I speak my Abeba fluently. But then, why is it that a lot of Nigerians, except those who are in diaspora, we don't speak our language?
Colonialism, prioritization of the English language as a lingua franca, and of course, the English language is an international language, a very important international language. It is spoken almost across the entire globe, So it is actually a very important language. It's our lingua franca in Nigeria. It's the language of business, education, commerce, everything, and even entertainment. So, in the 60s, shortly after independence, when back then the educational system was such that if you are doing well, it was almost a given that at some point you would wind up in the UK for further studies. Acculturization of the white man's way of doing things was seen as being posh, So at a point, even our way of dressing, our traditional clothing, started to suffer in favor of Western attire.
Very true.
The more westernized you were,
the better you accepted.
The posher,
yes,
and more sophisticated you seemed. And this gradually filtered into language as well. Till date, the better you speak English, the more authority you command. But people got myopic. Your capacity to speak English and command the language very well does not mean that, yes, it is a globally spoken language, but that doesn't mean that you should prioritize it to the point of killing off your own language. And we got to a point where certain parents would so prioritize English language because of education that they would not even speak the mother tongue at home because they wanted their children to be able to do well in their studies, academics, and all of this. And I personally feel that all of these things caused great damage to our different mother tongues. So I'm always very happy and impressed. The Yoruba people somehow, I don't know, they somehow didn't fall victim to this thing much. And
Don't
there's a reason I said that.
Don't be too comfortable with that.
Even when they are outside the country, they are maintaining their name, Olusegun or Lowokboroku. If you can pronounce it, fine. If you can't, that's your business. Because of Davido and who, Wizkid, and I'm learning Yoruba through music.
Songs.
They've made Yoruba language so popular. And
the one I like is Bolanle.
Look at Davido. He's coming
wealth,
from
right?
Davido is from a very posh background. His parents are wealthy. They have money and all this. And you go and listen to Davido. So I don't know Yoruba very well, but the young man doesn't seem to stumble when he's singing. He seems very fluent in his language. So I feel as if that should be a pointer to people that knowing your local language doesn't make you less posh. In fact, I feel as if it gives you more clout.
Yes.
To be able to speak two languages very, very well.
Okay, so I don't know. I know your interaction with people is quite deep, especially women, because of your coaching, skills. What do you think is the reason why? I still put it on the women because we are mostly the homemakers.
Yeah.
Why are we not talking in our native languages with the young people?
To be honest, majority do. We do have a few people who don't. And I just like Devon said, I think for me, I would just put it as colonial mentality, to be honest. It's as simple as that. Somehow you feel you're more posh when you speak English to your kids. And sometimes, to be honest, there could be a different reason. For example, I am Hausa. Originally, I'm supposed to be Hausa, but my mother is Gwari. I was born and raised by my mom in Niger State. And because of course, indigenship and scholarship, of course, we went with the Niger State indigenship. So I speak Hausa. My mother is Gwari through and through, but unfortunately, I think she was raised by her uncle in Kaduna, so she couldn't speak much of the Gwari, so she doesn't know, she understands it, but she cannot speak it, so naturally we can't speak it. And then I married a Fulani man. who is really passionate and he loves being fulfilled. Fulani people are quite arrogant, to be honest. Yeah. And I remember when we got married, he told me that, Umi, please, if you cannot speak full day, speak English. I'd rather my kids speak English than speak Hausa, because they have this thing about, Hausa is taking over full day. So I learned full day. And of course, they are Gulma. Yeah, my boy matter. It was not helping matter. So I realized that I would sit down there, they would talk over my head. So
okay, when they gossip and you're not, you can't comprehend.
Yes, I can't comprehend. And they were just telling me some market. So I told myself, I have to learn this language. I got a small book. When they said, what is war? Come. Dillu. What is Dillu? Go. And believe me, that's how I began to learn Fulfulde. And of course, again, I got a girl from his niece, from the Yola, who lived with us. And over time, I began to speak Fulfulde. So, me don't know Fulfulde, me don't follow Fulfulde. Na bana mi wawi so say but Andy and wakatimai, which means that time, I was in love now. So love was shocking me. So I said, make her learn husband language. So that is.
In my place, they say that a woman who loves her husband and has come to stay in marriage will always learn the husband's language. So apparently you did just that to prove a point. Yes. If you stay in your marriage and for a long time, I don't know how true that is, and you're not able to speak, your husband's dialect, whether it's Igbo, his own, side of Igbo, a lot of times think that you don't love him enough.
No, I think some people are just not good with language.
Yes, and I'm telling you what they say, and I don't know if it's true or not.
I didn't want to have, to be honest, I was intentional about it. I didn't want to have to raise kids who they will say, I'm Fulani and I cannot speak it. Perhaps because of myself. My mother is Gwari, and I tell myself I'm Gwari, and I cannot speak Gwari. So I didn't want that to happen to my children, to be honest. So I wanted them to learn Fulfulde. And unfortunately, I will speak Fulfulde, they will answer in English.
English, yeah.
Is it that they cannot speak it?
They can speak it, but when they speak it, if someone will go to the village, they laugh at them.
They laugh at
They don't follow Fulfulde, or something, that kind of thing. And to be honest, and funny enough, I'm going to out my husband right here on air. Sadly enough, he doesn't speak Fulfulde to them.
Oh, yes.
So what does he speak to them?
English.
Oh, wow. So your cooking is spoiling the pot.
My dear sister. He speaks more of English than Fulfulde. And I am the one who is not even Fulani. And I was, I really don't know how that dynamics worked. I don't know how it happened. So he speaks more of English than Fulfulde. I try to speak more of Fulfulde than English. And at the end of the day, English took over, to be honest. Yeah. And I am fluent in English. I speak in English. I pray in English. I remember my husband said, are you sure your prayer goes to Allah? Because you speak
because you're
praying in English.
Any language it will go.
Yeah, of course.
You see, I'm going to butt into what you said. My mom is not my language. My mom is the Yoruba part. I think they were from Kwara then. They call them Kaba, but most of them speak Yoruba as a language. And I realized that all my people used to be a bit nasty. And she said, how is she going to survive these people? So guess what? She learned the language. My mother speaks Igala better than my father.
Wow.
Oh yes, with the vowels, with all those signs and all that. And she said it was for survival.
Wow.
She had to survive. And most of the time, people didn't know she understood it. And my father made sure that she had to speak it. And so what she now did with her kids, or with me, let me use myself as an example. She taught me her own dialect first. Before my father's own, and what were we doing? Sometimes some amebo, when people come in, you don't want the other person to hear what you're saying, so you do the dialect thing. Then when we grew much older, my father took us to the village. You see, I always say that parents have to be intentional.
Yeah.
I thought my father was not my father.
It was wicked.
Because my father took the three of us, the three first girls, and they were going to America. How can a father leave his kids in the village? We had the nanny, we had the driver, he built the house. He says, okay, I give you 6 months.
To learn the culture.
To learn, not to learn the language.
Wow.
Guess what? We learned the language in 3 months.
Fantastic.
And it's because of the age. You see, there's an age barrier that when you pass that age barrier, it's very, very difficult to pick language. Yeah. But one thing I now realize is that I have my friends' kids who are abroad, and they go to places like China, they go to places like Germany. and they pick the language.
Yeah. True.
So now I wonder why it's easy for them to pick such language there, but when it comes to Nigeria, everybody is just sitting down. After all, I can speak English. And for the Gen Zs, it's a pity. I pity them and I pity their parents, because everywhere I go to, my last name is Okpanachi. On my card is Ojoma. The first thing the people will say, hey, Omaye Agba. So if they are greeting
what does
me,
Omaye,
what they mean is that, you see, there's this thing about us, everybody is Omaye. If you're an Igala, boy, Omaye, brother, sister, that's what we say. And they are greeting you, then you are saying good morning. You see, sometimes it depresses the other person that is your language. And you see, there's nothing as beautiful as, for me, I'm a traditional person. I love my language, I love my people, even though sometimes we do basbos. But we have to start from the schools like those days. Those days, there were 3 languages in school. Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. You must pick one. True. And most of us learnt all those little things from those school days.
That's how we came about the Wazobia thing.
Yes.
Wa and Zo, which is Hausa.
Yes.
You know, what you're saying is it's a bit funny, because I find that you say people abroad not being able to pick languages from here.
Yeah.
You know, I have found that children, this generation,
Yes.
you know, abroad, they kind of have interest, you know, with the you know, advent of Nigerian music, like you mentioned.
Yes.
And Davido and the rest of them,
Our
you know,
movies
mixing flavor and all of that,
Yes.
Italia, Guabala and all that. So, and it's popping. The clubs in the UK, the clubs in America, they're playing it. Young people want to speak the language. I have a friend who teaches Igbo on the internet.
Yeah.
And she said her clients are mostly abroad. You know, parents are beginning to engage people to teach their children abroad, which is very important. But it's surprising that while in Nigeria, if they're writing WAEC right now, go and check how many people are taking their local language.
Very few.
Very few. You know, my children wrote WAEC Igbo. I insisted. You know, I knew why I did that.
You were intentional.
I was very
Do
intentional.
they even still have it? During our time, it was compulsory.
That's what
It
I'm
was
saying.
day one. No, it's no longer
it's not
compulsory.
compulsory.
It's no longer compulsory.
It's not
You know,
compulsory.
but then
that's where the problem is.
that period,
Yeah.
it was compulsory for us. Now it's optional.
Yeah.
You know, so and parents do not encourage. It's important. I'll tell you a story. A woman was talking to the child. It was in train abroad, you know, and it was video call. The woman could see something at the back of the girl she wasn't seeing, and was suspicious of the man at the back. And she said to the lady, you know, in the local language, watch that person at your back. Don't turn face. But there's somebody at your back and he's being funny. Be wary of him. So you got to where she was supposed to stop. The guy also was supposed to stop there. She pretended as if she forgot something. She went back. And the guy stepped out. As the train was moving, he was like this, looking at her. You could tell there was an intention.
My God.
Now, if they were speaking English,
he would have heard.
The man would have heard what the mother said. You know? So like you said, your mom taught you her own dialect first. For, you know, a discussion. It doesn't always have to be gossip.
No, it
could be protection. It could be something. I may want to discuss something personal. You're in a public place. Your child wants to wee, and he comes to you. Is a girl, or sometime I had an experience when my children were, you know, young in their menstrual business. You know, they start feeling funny. Then they come to you and tell you, "Mommy, I think I'm stained." There are people around there. They're going to feel, you know, funny saying it. Rather, they will sit down there and get stained. But if you taught them language, it can come out and tell you, "Mommy, I think I'm full. I need to change," in your dialect. And then you now look for a way to move around and take the person out without making them feel funny. So I don't know, what are the other benefits of, you know, teaching our children this native language? I'm interested, and I need to know.
Politics.
Politics.
Yeah.
Very important.
Wow.
True. I never thought of it.
Very important.
I haven't even seen the
Very
connection.
important.
Yeah,
What's the connection?
You see, growing up, the first language I spoke in my life was Hausa. They were always leaving me with my maternal grandmom. Then the second language I spoke was Pidgin English because of the people that help around in the house.
Yes.
So the last language I spoke was Tiv. And you know, you said something about the onus lies on mothers because they're mostly at home. My mother was a nurse. She was always at work. So incidentally, it was my dad that got frustrated one day, you know, because I was speaking Pidgin Tiv, so to speak. Yes, I don't know how else to put it because I was just picking up small. I didn't really know how to speak the thing. I didn't know the difference between brother and friend. So if their relatives came around, or if our relatives came around, I would come and tell them, your friend is looking for you. So the poor man got frustrated and was like, no, we have to do something about this. So he got me storybooks in Tiv language. At the time, there were storybooks in Tiv language.
Wow.
And he would put me through pronunciation, reading, and things like that. If I spoke funny Tiv, he would correct me and such. So anyway, this came in handy. When
Sorry, I'm not cutting you short. I just like the story Devon is telling us. And if you're watching, and if your children can read your language, you know, from a book, if they can read it, let us know. You know, send us a text. You can see the number on the screen. Let's know what's your language and can your children read in your local dialect. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so my dad taught me how to read Tiv, you know, and all of that. So that came in handy when I went home for politics.
Yeah.
You are not going to stand there and start speaking English or
Hausa.
Pidgin English
Nobody's
or
gonna
any
say,
other
no,
language.
no,
You're
you
going
can't.
to speak
Yeah.
the language of the people that you say you are going out there to go and represent.
Yes.
And even then, you know, I'd have the odd person coming at me with, you know, you don't speak it too well, right? And I'll be like, yes, that's because in the National Assembly, it's English they speak.
Yes.
So if you can hear what I'm saying here, just manage what I'm saying here right now, because I will not be speaking to the National Assembly if I go there. So manage this one. But even at the village level, I dare say I don't think I did too badly. Wow. I don't think I did too badly. I think I beat myself up a little bit about my capacity to speak Tiv. I think I speak it much better than I think I do. And additionally, you know, I've had people tell me that, you speak it well. My problem is when I'm with people I feel speak much better than I do, I begin to stutter and stumble because I become very self-conscious. Same thing happens to me with Hausa. If I'm to speak it formally, I begin to stumble all over the place. But if I'm speaking informally with friends, I don't have issues. So you need that if you're having political ambitions and you speak only English or some other language, you need to go dust up the language of the people that you say you are going to represent. So that's another very important reason why you need your native tongue.
I really am glad she mentioned the storybook thing, because I'm going to now go and look for storybooks in full day for my kids. I think thank you for
You'll
sharing
probably
that.
find them.
There must be. There must be some kind of storybooks, and I think it will help with it. Absolutely, I'll do that. Thank you for sharing that.
You know, culture, they say, is a people's way of life, you know. And the culture is not complete until we've talked about the food and the language. So a lot of times when people tell me that my child is misbehaving, the first thing I look at is, did you try to teach them your language? You know? Really? Yes. If you teach people their language, if your child grew up speaking Fufude, it's easier for them to, because the language comes with a lot of respect. The English language we see, they'll tell you good morning, quite all right. But this high standing, your language teaches you how to touch your toe when you're greeting an elder. The language teaches
the connection
you how
between language and culture.
Language.
That's where I have to give. That's where I have to give it to the Yorubas.
Yes.
Look, see, every language has its advantage and disadvantage.
Sure.
You see, for me, the Yoruba people, even though if they pretend that they're big up on respect, they show it more.
Just pretend for me, no
That's
problem.
you see,
I'll take you at face value.
That's it. So,
yes.
You see, most of the time they might be pretending.
You still have it.
But they're there, they're doubling and everything. After a while, they can do the yimu, you know, and all that.
Yeah, no problem.
But
as
the
long
issue
as
is that I didn't
feed.
see that
Yes.
part. But you see, there's something Anna realized with the Igbos. Oh my God. Arrogance. I'm telling you. It's, see, let's say it. You see, I think, sorry, I'm not generalizing, but I'm just saying, no, sorry. Respect comes with money.
Yeah, for them, that's
Okay.
right.
Let's say it the way.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's
see,
right,
let's say it the way it is. With the Northerner, I have a problem. When you're a woman, excuse me, what are you talking about? Take it or leave it. Because most of the time, even the Megadi that is a man, you are talking to him,
True.
and he's telling you,
because you're a woman,
because you're a woman.
True, yeah.
So you see, we have learned with all the tribes, there is a peculiarity about certain tribes in Nigeria. Take it or leave it.
Okay, so luckily you said you're not generalizing.
I'm not.
So I'm not going to hit at it, because I know my place. There's nothing like that. You know.
Then let me talk
we have a lot of
let me
respect.
talk about my people. I know they won't like me today. The men are so arrogant. The men are so full of it. So I always tell every Igala woman, excuse me, when you meet your Igala man, you have to come down to his level and let him feel he is the
king.
That's it.
I think it's an African mentality. Most African men, it's a mentality. That's how they were raised.
Okay.
The typical African child, of course, we're talking about the older generation, because we're not doing that kind of crap now.
Gen Z's
but
innocent.
you see, the typical African man was raised to feel he was better because he was male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are using was. It's still.
He's male. Sorry.
Yeah, but there are many homes where that still applies.
Yes, it still applies.
Yes.
That's sad.
So you see, our culture, it's you see, culture is deep.
Yeah.
Culture is deep. Do you know that most of our kids now cannot even eat our food? We are talking about language.
Yeah. True.
Then somebody will tell you that, oh my God, the Dadawa it's you know, when they talk.
It's awful. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
So you see, we're talking about language. I'm having a good laugh. Some people don't even know where they're from.
Yeah.
If they tell you, they will say, okay, we were brought up in Kaduna. I am not from Kaduna. I am from Kogi. Some people, because they were brought up from Kaduna, or I think what happened is that some people got scholarships from certain places.
Yes.
And, you know, so they have already said this is the state they are from. So it's always very difficult for you to get scholarship or your name, your state on all your papers, a particular state. Then you now say that you are from that state. So you rather not speak that language of your real state and stick to that other state and not speak the language.
You know, it's
that's quite common.
Yeah,
it's a pity, because you're as you talk, I remember something that happened. A little boy came to my place, and he's from my place, and I made our local food that I like so much. We call it oto. You know, the equivalent of Rikmankupo in Calabar region.
Side.
You know, and I said, come and eat. He said, I ain't gonna eat that shit. I said, what that shit? He said, I said, the name is Otto. He said, no, I'm not gonna come. You know. He wanted to take Golden Moon. I said, I ain't going to eat that shit. That's the real shit. You know? I said, that's the real shit. I ain't going to eat that shit. So, and I told him, Mom, my cousin, I'm going to stay with this boy. You're not doing a good job. They're in Abuja here, so I'm going to stay with this boy. He has to learn to call the name first. That is not shit. It's called Otto. So I stayed with him. After a while of removing all the series available, you know, he didn't see what to eat. He ate that food. Yes. And when he ate it, he now came, Mommy, Lizzie, that thing was sweet though. I said, you haven't still called the name. He now said, what did you say the name was again? I said, Otto. He said, okay. He kept it. I said, you're going to tell me the name again before you go to bed. Yeah. In the night, I asked him again. He pronounced it. I said, do you like it? He said, I do. We're going to have it again tomorrow. I said, it's a lot of work to prepare. So you're going to come to the kitchen and create it for me. You know, the next day, he was the first to say, okay, where is the job you don't want me to do? It's like 10, 11. And he did it. So a lot of times, our parents are not doing enough. You know, and I think that when in Yoruba language that you mentioned, there is different salutation for different age. I made that mistake of greeting somebody, you know, with the same language because I picked it up from my friend. They now told me no, that I needed to say it like this because this is for the older person, you know. So a lot of our languages are like that. But are we doing the good job of teaching our children you know, how these things vary. You know, so, but if, let's see, if we don't do this, we're going to...
When they don't understand the language,
yes,
how are they going to know what varies and doesn't vary?
Yeah, they don't even know.
Because do you know many kids, I was one of them, who lived with people, and I had problems living with people. Why did I have problems living with people? Because I couldn't eat what they were eating. But you see, I was a different child. I always used to say I was fasting, but I wasn't fasting because my mom taught me that if you don't know how to eat the food, don't say, I'm not eating, or I don't know how to eat it. Because it's rude for you to go somewhere and they're giving you something and you're saying, I don't eat this.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why most of the
at
time...
least try it. We are told to try it.
I
if it cannot kill you, just take
I
it.
can eat snail. My house, everybody eats snail. It's just me. And they say you don't know what you're missing. You cannot miss what you have never That's it.
You never tried it?
I've never tried it. I would never try it.
Is it because of how it looks?
Yeah, I think I think I've seen them try to
clean the process of
cleaning it. So I think that thing
the truth is that somebody is writing here. He said I should tell you that you're missing.
Yes, I know. I know what I tell them. I'm not missing anything.
Because
you don't miss what you have not had before.
I've had it, but I actually don't really like it. It kind of tastes like gizzard. Because for me, I'm a foodie, so I would try it. So either I try it, maybe I will not have it next time.
Even as a Nigerian, I'm more tilted to the Yoruba
cuisine.
Cuisine than I don't do all those fisherman soup. And why do that is because all those things are in there.
You didn't miss.
If you
whether you're missing or not, I don't know. But I just know that as parents, we are responsible for a whole lot.
Yeah, true.
And when I say parents, it's not just the biological parents. Between you and I, persons that live with me, persons that work with me, do you make effort to ensure that the culture of such people, get to stay? Do you know that really there is this big fear of some languages dying off? Oh, yes. Let's get to watch this. So they say some have died, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what he has. Hello.
While Nigeria is a multilingual country with over 500 languages, in the past, they were the people's pride and identity.
Kubilaji.
Shoyin moi.
Bakando.
Msu. Megbao.
Today, a significant number of them are endangered, with some even becoming extinct. This trend is concerning as each language represents a unique cultural heritage and worldview. 29 Nigerian languages have already become extinct as at today. Another 29 minor languages are in danger of extinction. Surprisingly, 3 of Nigerians' major languages, Yoruba, Igbo, and Ishekiri, are also facing the threat of extinction.
UNESCO has expressed concern over the extinction of the Igbo language in the next 50 years. The Endangered Language Project has identified 172 Nigerian languages as going extinct. These include languages like Gurutum, Kono, and Pochi. This painful trend has been blamed on a lot of things like
globalization and modernization, economic marginalization, migration to urban areas, insufficient support for language education in schools and communities, changing cultural values and priorities. However, all these can be corrected if we are committed to do so.
The time is now. Or would you love to lose your history when you are gone? Think about it.
Hey, you were really popping on this package. It's okay. I will try and tie my own girl too. I want to make sure that when I leave, my language stays. So I have been teaching my children a whole lot. And I will keep saying it. Abriba, you can check Google what I'm saying. Abriba remains the small London here in Africa. I didn't say Nigeria. It's called Abriba, small London. And I am the Edena of Abriba. And I'll tell you that if you come to the place, the topography, everything about it is rich. The people have, they call them Abriba Ancient Kingdom because we are very traditional and we hold our traditions, quite tenaciously, passing it down directly and also through the age grade. And we have a lot of respect. No matter who I am, if my age grade, the seniors come in here, I must stand up for them to sit. That's how it's behaved.
I think it's a cultural thing.
That's how it is in my place. And then for the men, they pamper their women. If we call every woman Iya. Once I come in here, men are seated. Because I'm a woman, they're going to give me seats.
Are you serious?
We're very fragile.
Is it only about seats? Is it only about seats, about other things?
No. The women are supposedly pampered. We're supposed to be pampered.
I have to go to Abariba.
A lot of people they don't want to marry us, seriously, because your husband. You want to marry Abariba? Next Christmas, I'm taking.
I have to come. I want to come.
It's a beautiful place too.
The good thing with me is that I go for most events and I go to different parts of Nigeria, and it's beautiful, So people who stay in the city, I went to Awaka once, and they had chicken. So all they do is, what do you want to eat? I said chicken, and you know what they do? They just grab the chicken, and they would just cook it, and it was so nice. Then when I was passing Emekuku, I saw them. Some palm wine guy was tapping palm wine, and they tapped it. It's beautiful, but you see, the kids don't even know where they're from. They don't go to the village anymore.
When you come to my place, you're going to be doing a lot of cornmeal and water yam, meals from corn and water yam, and they're very healthy, rich in fiber. But people are writing. Let's see if we can read some of your messages. Thank you, presenters and guests, for this very important topic. My opinion is to teach your children your mother tongue, and they will have an excellent command of all other languages. True. They intentionally want to learn. Kudos to the ladies on set, and they are all brilliant and beautiful. Thank you. He says the name is Bolanle. That's the language I told you. The name I say I like. Bolanle from Ilori. Okay. Bolanle Pepe Demo. I remember that. Let's read another one. He said, mother tongue is very important, and it should be taken seriously by parents, children, and also federal government. And also the federal government is Alhaji Gako Karo site. And let's talk a little bit more before I take one more message. Now, I'd like to know, Devon, what do we do to make our children naturally, begin to have love to learn our languages? Because the truth is, there are a lot of them. In Abuja here, not just Abuja, a lot of places, they go to schools that think they are, very, very tushed. Those schools, they don't let children speak any other thing except English. The teachers make them look down on their languages. When these kids come out and you're telling the person, where are you from? If like Abeba, and I say, Ka, he says, what's that? How do we, our languages more? At the point you mentioned, we lost touch with our traditional clothes. Now, anybody you tell dress up, they're going traditional, not suits, not tie. Yeah. I'm sure we can bring back our language. How do we go about it?
Well, the way I see it, it's parents getting very intentional. I also went through school systems that would not allow you to speak vernacular.
Okay, you used to call vernacular. You used to call it vernacular, yes.
Primary, secondary school, no, it wasn't allowed. And I think that was because they wanted to give students or pupils the added advantage of learning this foreign language properly, because it's a requirement for you to, pass through and even get to the university. I don't think it was about looking down on any cultures per se, because we used to have Cultural Day where you were required to come to school in your traditional attire. We had cultural dances, dance competitions, and it was always cultural. So I would advise parents that that are interested in this to make sure that they speak well about their ethnic group.
That's it.
Speak well about your ethnic group. Try and get your children to know the good things about where they are from. And then you as parents also, in the kitchen, make sure that at least a good quantity of the food you eat is something that's cultural. Have clothing that reflects your culture. Take them home for the holidays when you can. Get them to interact with their village cousins, if their grandparents are still alive, things like that, get them to interact. Get granddaddy or grandmommy to tell them about historical aspects of culture that may be lost now, and so on. The way we also approach culture will make the children decide whether it's something that should be looked down on or not. And then with regard to teaching language, we have about 500 ethnic groups in Nigeria. The truth is, if I'm going to speak honestly, I may not be so thrilled that it's only Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo that's being taught in schools. So I have a business idea here for anybody that might want to run with it. If you know you speak your language very well, you can start a small school to teach only that language to children from the ages. It can be summer school when they are on vacation for 2 hours every 2-3 times a week. If your children come to this place for such and such an amount of money, I'm going to teach them how to speak Tiv, Idoma, Igala, Igede, Fufude, any language, you know, people that are very versatile, people that are fluent in their languages. This is a business idea. True. By the time you have 10 students in your class, with the parents paying what, maybe 25,000 naira per head per month, that's 250,000 now per month that you can use for extra something. So individuals can start language classes in clusters all over the place.
You even do it online.
Exactly. Especially if you already have a background in teaching. You know, that's an added way of making income, because the federal government, if they wake up now and they say, okay, let's go back to that thing, it's still going to be Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo. And some people are too arrogant. Okay, the full-day man doesn't want his child to learn Hausa.
No,
you understand?
No, let me correct. It's not that he doesn't. He believes
no, I'm
that,
I'm speaking generally.
That eventually, if you live in northern Nigeria, you will learn Hausa.
Yes.
But if you are not intentional about learning full day, you will not learn.
But the thing is, in Nigeria now, that ethnic group is called Hausa Fulani, which is absurd. It's like saying TV Gede.
It's Fulani, it's Fulani.
But most non-northerners, most southerners feel that there's an ethnic group known as Hausa Fulani. It doesn't exist. You have Hausa people, you have Fulani people. So Fulani people or Hausa people, in a bid to... Hausa has become a lingua franca in the north. So the Fulani person, in a bid to establish his own identity, will tell you, I don't want my child learning Hausa in school. You know?
Okay. All right, so let's quickly touch base again with our customers. Or please, if you can make this thing very short, that would be nice. Sorry if I'm going into another topic rather than what you are discussing this morning. I remember a few years ago, Wazobia was introduced into the national school curriculum. Please, who stopped it?
Good question.
You'll give us the question. And it says, that person or group have done the country a disservice. True.
Even
it was a rare opportunity for our unity. If this is the only thing that government can do, let them return it to our curriculum. Please help me propagate this beyond this forum. Thank you. Afidepo.
No, but you know, you
Ogun State.
You said something.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll try.
You said something about language and elites. You go to school. Excuse me. I have to give, we can say anything we want to say. I have to give credit to the Northerners. The Gen Zs are speaking Hausa. Abroad, everywhere you see them, they're speaking it. So what I was thinking was, why don't we check? What is it that they are doing right? I see my friends, I have 60% of my friends are Northerners. And I see their kids, their little kids. They know how to pray. They take them to school to pray. Likewise, they teach them their dialects, that particular dialect. How come they are getting it right and other people are getting it wrong? So I would rather check what is it that they are doing right.
True. And copy it.
Yes.
All right. Another one says here, to fix this problem, we must decolonize our people, regulate English to second official language, and make it compulsory for our people to pass one indigenous language,
Yes.
not
That's what it
English,
used to be.
before
That's how
going
it used
into
to
any
be.
high institution.
Yeah.
Upgrade our indigenous language and make it number one. Allow people to study indigenous language just like the Chinese, the Americans, and the French, and the Russians. More messages. I hope I can take all of it. It says, good morals have been eroded. All right, this is not, okay, has eroded by our ignorance to cultural norms, with hitherto shaped our daily, which hitherto shaped our daily behaviors and purged our conscience of negatives. All right, I think you're still talking about making sure that we learn our language, which carries a lot of our culture, which is also good morals. Thank you, ladies, so much for this interesting program, Our Dying Mother Tongue. God bless you all. Lizzie, Joy, Devon, and Memuna. My name is Dominic Okwesi from Warri State. I am from Okwani, but reside and work in Warri. Okwani, where is that from? Which state is Okwani?
No idea.
Okay.
Delta
State.
Delta.
Oh, okay, that's nice. Good morning, Ma, and my name is Shagun Bakari. I'm your program and your conversation. The topic is our dying. I guess you want to say, I love your program tongues. And your topic. The dying mother, not our dying father tongue. Wow. You don't enter gender inequality. Oh, it's okay. So please, who carries the child first? Let's start there. That's the mother. So the mothers will always be the one to do the business of teaching first. From Lokoja, this person said, good morning. My name is Ramat. I see no reason why I can't reject a food that I don't know how to eat. It's better you say it than collecting the food and ending up not eating it. He's talking about eating what you do. That's why Joy will tell you that he's fasting.
Is that
and this other person says, it's disheartening to see our mother tongue dying. I'm making sure my children learn and speak my dialect, Gbede dialect, Yoruba, speaking part of Kogi State. That's a Gbede.
That's the Kaba side. That's the Kaba part.
Okay.
You see, you know, the first time I saw my senator, well, she's from my state. Okay, so I'm super proud of her and all that.
Who is that?
Senator Natasha. The first time I saw her, I said, can this lady speak her language? And the minute she took the microphone and she started speaking her language,
that's the Bira.
Yes, I was excited. I said, beauty and brains, and she's speaking her dialect, because she knew all this while that she was going to run for office. So if you have to run for office, what language are you going to speak?
Especially when you consider the fact that her mother is white, and not Nigerian.
Not Nigerian, and if she could do that with a white mother, which I think she will understand her dialect, because those white people go the extra mile. They learn the language because they know, you know, I want to have a fantastic marriage. So if people like that can decide, and I always tell people, try and learn the language. You might not want to run into politics, but anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. This person says, good morning. I am Okun Man from Kogi State. For my daughter Okun Man from Kogi State. For my daughter to understand Yoruba language, I sent her home for secondary education, and she is doing well. That's good. Just like your father. And I'll take this last message. It's from Dr. Idacheba. You guys are doing great. Good morning. My children are born and raised in Abuja. They speak and sing in Igala fluently. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. That's your language, right?
That's my language.
Do you know any song in your language?
Not really, but not that I don't know. Like my mom does praise and worship.
Once a praise and worship. No, want to end it with?
No, when she does the praise and worship, we follow her to sing it. But I don't think I've really. But there are new people that are coming up that we've been watching them and we're learning how to sing.
Do you know native language? Any song?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm blank. I used to know Gwari songs as a child,
because
when in cultural day we used to sing some.
I'm the only correct babe.
No, you caught us off guard.
No, because you already knew.
I did not know. This man just gave me an idea.
You knew the question. Is that not Igbo? That's Igbo.
Bye-bye.